All right, so we've got Michael, Kyle, Ed, and Andrew so far. All right, we're going to go ahead and welcome everyone. It is May 12th, 2026 to the Littleton Conservation Commission via Zoom. We're going to go ahead and get going with approval of minutes, and we've got a stack of 3 that we need to get caught up on. So what I'd like to do first is to go over April 21, 2026. Does anyone have any omissions, corrections, comments? I just have one. Does anyone have anything?
Not for me.
I just had a quick question down the very bottom in regards to 6 Spec Pond. It said, Mr. Johnson explained the foundation was constructed 2 winters ago. Was it 1 winter ago or 2 winters ago? And Kyle, you might remember this, or I was just curious if anybody remembers that, of when the foundation was put in.
It was 2 winters ago.
2?
Yeah, it was not this past winter. It was not the 25-26. It was the winter before.
Okay, great. That was the only question I had. Anyone have any comments, additions, submissions? If not, can we have a motion for April 21, 2026?
I'll make a motion that the commission approve the meeting minutes from April 21st, 2026 as amended.
I'll second.
Okay.
All right. Roll call vote. Michael.
Michael Livingston, aye.
Sarah.
Sarah Seward, aye.
Ed.
I'm trying to figure out if I was at that meeting.
Oh, you can still vote on them.
Oh, okay. Aye. Ed Foltz, aye.
Kyle.
Kyle Maxfield, aye.
Myself, aye. It's unanimous.
Okay, great. Let's go ahead. We're going to jump into April 30th, 2026. That was our enforcement order ratification meeting. Anybody have any questions or omissions on that? Edits? If not, can I entertain a motion to approve?
So move.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you.
Roll call vote. Good evening, Carl.
Hey, how's it going? Good.
Good, thanks. How you doing?
Yeah, just fine.
All right, so Carl, we are doing April 7th, 2026 minutes for approval. They've been motioned and seconded.
Okay.
All right, Carl, would you like to be the first in the lineup of the roll call?
Aye.
Michael?
Michael Livingston, aye.
Sarah?
There's Sarah Seward, aye.
Ed?
Ed Foltz, aye.
Kyle?
Kyle Maxfield, aye.
And myself, aye. It's unanimous.
Okay, great. We're going to jump into, does anyone have anything they'd like to add to administrative discussions tonight?
Sure. I had reached out to Tim, and he might not have an update, but I was curious about the Mill Road work for the town down was it 91 Mill Road down the corner, and then the work on Padawan that I think it's Steel Harbor, right next to Long Lake. Just curious if there's an update on this.
Okay, so Tim will add that to our list for roads. Okay, and then I would like to add just an update on our dates and times for our upcoming site walks as well. Okay, so Tim, we're going to jump into the first request for certificate of compliance, 18 Pleasant, which is DEP 204-1024. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure. So last fall we received this request. We went out and Laura and I went out and did a site inspection. The only thing that we were really waiting on at that point was the vegetation just hadn't come in quite enough to be considered stable. So we met the current property, or the former property owner, who was current at the time, out there, and relayed that information to him. Over the winter, the property transferred. We went back out there this spring. That area that was unstable is now filled in, and I consider it stable now. However, when we went out there, we noticed there was a fence that had been constructed since we were out there during the fall. So we have both the former property owner and the current property owner here tonight. ask the current property owner if he can just come and kind of speak to you guys on why it was installed and how you guys want to go about this situation to get it into compliance and ultimately receive the certificate.
Okay, great. So Tim, do you want to let them or just enable them to be able to speak? I'm not sure what their names are.
Sure. We've got Paul Dudley here and Tyler Sanderson.
Okay. So Paul,
Can
if you want to just, yep, go ahead, Paul. If you want to introduce yourself, that would be great.
Okay. My name is Paul Dudley. I used to own the house at 18 Pleasant Street in Littleton. We sold it last September. And at that point, as Tim alluded, we were waiting for certificate of compliance, but the grass hadn't had the time to come in. So at this point right now, I feel that I've satisfied my needs to meet to make the compliance, make the property compliant. I can't control what the current homeowner does or what he puts on his land. That's not up to me. But as far as I'm concerned, I've fulfilled my duties in making this property as compliant as it could be to meet the needs that we left with last October. So that's my story.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that, Paul.
Yep.
Tim, can you let Tyler speak, please?
Yep. Tyler, you're permitted to talk.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Tyler Sanderson. I just purchased 18 Pleasant Street back in December 11th of 2025. I live here with my fiance and our two children. One is 6 weeks old, just had her recently, and our 3-year-old daughter, Lillian. When we purchased this land, this property, a lot of people might see the pond as a selling feature of the home. However, we saw it more of a safety risk for our children. And so it was very vocal and communicative with both the buyer and the seller's agents at the time that we intended to construct a fence in our backyard. We had since installed a white picket fence in what we considered as kind of a small area of the backyard, given it's a half acre of land. However, it seems to have been within the 50-foot do not disturb zone, possibly, and the 100-foot, definitely the 100-foot buffer zone. I was not supplied any of the information when purchasing the home. There was no disclosures regarding this when I purchased the home, so I'm not quite sure how I would have been able to know if this was allowed or not.
Okay, thank you, commissioners. What would you like to do? Tyler, you don't happen to have any pictures of or actually, Tim, do you have? There you go, perfect. Okay.
You can see Mill Pond's back here, and this area is fully enclosed.
Okay. Questions for the owner, commissioners?
Well, the concern is what? The fence is inside the 50.
Yeah, and you might have to speak up a little bit. We could barely hear you.
Sorry. The concern is what? That the fence is inside the 50?
It didn't receive a permit from us. Yeah. And it's
Okay.
inside the 150. And typically what we would ask for is the fences to allow for wildlife movement. So to be raised off the ground is a X amount of inches. But you can see in this case, obviously, it wouldn't allow for wildlife movement, although it is enclosed.
Okay, because I wouldn't have thought we'd care much about a fence, but if it's inside the 100 or inside the 50, then I understand.
I'm sorry to unmute myself. I would want to add that right to the left of that fence there, that is my neighbor's property. There is clear, probably about 20 feet open to the street and clear passage for wildlife should it be needed. And then again, this is a 4-foot white picket fence. So we want to maintain the sight lines. Obviously, the pond as is very beautiful. So we thought we were being as minimally invasive as possible instructing this fence.
So, Tim, when we're talking 0 to 50, are we more closer to 50 or more closer?
You're closer to the 50.
Can't see the boundary of the fence. Just curious.
Yeah, you're closer to the 50.
Okay.
Yep.
Hey, Tim. Here. Hi. So I just had a quick question. So the the former owner, he's just here to tell his, like, he sold the property to this owner who put the fence up. But is the owner that put the fence up saying that the former owner should have told him? Was there any discussion? Was there
I
any
don't know if that's-
discussion prior
I mean-
to?
Well, and honestly,
I can
that
add one note here that we actually received a $7,000 seller credit at the term of the purchase, and written into our offer was stated that we wanted to install a fence. So that's why I seem to feel that it was pretty clearly known from all parties that this fence was going to be installed. Had it not been allowed, we probably wouldn't have moved forward with the purchase.
And so, Carl's, typically when there's a property transfer, there is a condition in the order that the new property owner is supposed to have signed off that they acknowledge that there's an open order and that they've reviewed it. We almost never receive paperwork when that happens. If it happens, a lot of times it doesn't happen. I don't know if it happened in this case. But we try to fix that disconnect by having that condition in there. But
So I was trying to get it clear in my head. I know this is the work was done by the current owner, and that's really what we should be focusing on. I was just trying to get it straight from one other just follow up. So the $7,000, was that taken off the purchase and sale, or was it?
Correct. It was written in as a seller's credit
Okay, all right.
at the term of sale.
All right. So yeah, so I think that, I mean, whatever happened, then that seems fine. So let's just deal with the fence. That's where we're at. So we can figure this out.
right. I think, Tyler, what we'd want to do is just have you kind of sketch where the fence is in the proximity to the actual water line. And if you can submit that, I know that Tim and Lauren have already been out there, and then maybe if one of the commissioners can just kind of touch base with you all just to come out and look at the fence, that would be great. I'm sure that we
Am I able to share my screen? Like, I do have photos of my existing property. I'm not sure if that's possible. If not, I have no problem submitting a sketch or additional photos kind of showing the distance. I am a contractor, so I was able to take some rough measurements. And
Okay.
from the furthest corner, or the corner closest to the land, I'm counting 65 feet away. Again, that is to the edge of the water, so I'm not sure where the wetlands starts and ends.
Okay.
That's clearly not identified, and I don't have any paperwork really showing that. I was supplied a septic design that briefly shows it, but that was once this was identified. I got that document.
When was the septic plan done?
The septic plan was done back in May of 2025. It was
2025. Yeah, and
Correct.
you did have you had to have a wetland delineation done for that, I would think.
Oh yeah. It took forever and paid way too much for way too much, and so on and so
Okay,
forth.
so Tyler, I think what we'd like you to do is to go ahead and communicate with Tim and Lauren and just go ahead and do a sketch. You can use that line and that wetlands line and just superimpose that fence and then just bring it in. We are meeting next week. So
use that wetland, use that delineation that you had done for the septic. That would be fine. That'd be fine.
Okay.
and Tyler, we could provide you that plan that shows that on there. Lauren
Lauren did supply that to me, I believe on last Tuesday.
One more thing, Sarah, do you guys want to see a waiver request for this?
Well, he just said it's at 65 feet, so I guess it really depends.
Right. I thought it was in the 50.
Okay.
And he's 65 to the water, so I don't know if there's BBW. I have to go back and check the plan.
So, but Tyler, if it is 0 to 50, then we would need a waiver request.
And we can send you that.
Yeah, and Tim and Lauren can help you with that.
Would this have to be an amended order as well to include the fence if we're talking possible 50-foot disturbance with a waiver request, though?
I don't know that it would necessarily need to be an amended. I mean, you could probably vote it as a minor mod.
And that's what I was going to ask, if it could be a minor mod
Yeah.
and
Okay.
give Tim the authority to approve that.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and you all can ponder that for sure.
Just put that, just overlay that wetland line so you can just get a distance.
Okay. All right. We've got a full docket here, so let's go ahead. All right. Thank you, Tyler and Paul, for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's go ahead. Request for a certificate of compliance, 8 Field Lane, DEP 204-847. Tim, who's here for that?
Yep, nobody's here for that. That project was done in compliance with the order, and the site is stable, so I would recommend that it's ready for a certificate.
Thank you. Do we have someone that?
Sarah, do you
Yeah.
8 field lane or 4 field lane? The agenda shows 4.
Oh, no, 4. Correct. Tim, that's 4, right?
Yep, that's 4.
Yep, my error. Thank you, Ed.
Okay.
So 4 Field Lane, DEP 204-847. If there's no discussion, if we'd like to issue that, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that the commission issue a certificate of compliance for 4 Field Lane, DEP file number 204-847.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Great.
All right. Roll call vote. Carl.
Carl Melberg, aye.
Michael.
Michael Livingston, aye.
Ed.
Ed Foltz, aye.
Sarah.
Sarah Seward, aye.
Kyle.
Kyle Maxfield, aye.
Myself, aye. It is unanimous.
Okay, great. Let's go discussion Girl Scout project at Chapin Garden.
I'm with them. Tim, can you I think it said Anna Regan, Jason
Yeah.
Letterme,
Sure
and
thing.
let them speak. I'm going to try to I was going to try to share my screen. I don't know if I can do that
So
with my
you said
phone.
Jason, Anna, and who was the third?
I think that's it.
Oh, okay.
So if Anna and Elle, if you want to start talking, can everybody, I don't know if I'm sharing my screen or not.
Yes, you are, Kyle. Well done. You're doing that on your phone.
So basically, we are going to try and like re-landscape the community garden. So first we're gonna like install the perimeter with plastic around it at the edge of the fence. And then we will install plastic over the garden plots that are green in the camera. And then we will repair the gates and the perimeter fence if it is needed to be repaired. And then that was like our 2026, like what we would do in 2026. And then when it gets to 2027, we will start removing plastic on the plots and rework the soil and install the garden in the areas that are selected. And then we will reestablish usable plots with like new garden.
Yep. So a lot of these plots aren't being used this year. The garden was in really tough shape in the fall, and me and Lauren started putting in many hours into rehabbing it. And so we took down all the vegetation essentially from the fence. And the idea being, okay, we'll have the scouts put down some black plastic that'll prevent the regrowth of the bittersweet and the vines and everything that's growing up onto the fence. The plots themselves, a lot of them, because they aren't active this year, and some of them, I think probably half of them weren't active last year. Or if they were active, they really weren't being maintained. They're in very rough condition right now. And so another problem is that there's rabbits in the garden as well. So identifying those deficiencies in the fence and doing, either patchwork or putting up chicken wire at those sections to prevent the rabbits from getting back in.
Yeah, just so you guys are
Excellent.
aware, this is their silver award project that they're working on. So they've kind of filled out an application to submit to Girl Scouts of America. And a part of that, they are working with Tim and Lauren. So wanted to get in front of you and get your blessing and see if you had any other recommendations or concerns.
Commissioners,
This sounds
anyone have
great.
any thoughts?
I heard sheep and garden rehab, and I'm like, yes.
I agree. Yep. Do we have any questions for them? What's kind of your time frame, do you think?
It will be like through the fall, I think, spring and fall of 2026, and then we will start like planting and revegetating in 2027.
Okay.
Yeah, they do have to kind of have the project done by the end of 2027. I think before the fall of 2027. So yeah, that what she outlined would be the goal. Kind of get the control of the vegetation, everything that's growing there, get that started through this growing season, and give it the winter to kill off the weeds and whatnot that are there, and then expose everything in the spring and go from there.
With some of the plots that have gone lay, and I know Tim, you and Lauren had been out there, is there any risk of poison ivy out there?
Not so much anymore. There was a little bit on the front part of the gate. If you're looking from the parking lot, me and Lauren got, I think, almost all of it last fall. Went out there the other day to meet Kyle, and I saw a little bit, but really not a lot. The risk is pretty low
So
right
just
now.
for the scouts that's something to just be aware of. Make sure that you know how to identify it. Okay. Kyle, what would you like from us at this point? Just a blessing or formal motion? What would you like?
Yeah, I guess that's up to Tim. It was more of a blessing, letting you know that this was the plan. We're going to be working on your property.
Okay.
What kind of plants you said in 27 you were going to do plantings?
Yeah, I don't know that there will be. I don't think I'll have been aware of when we met with Tim. We had talked about revegetating along the perimeter of the fence, or just installing the plastic, stapling it to the ground, and just leaving the plastic there.
Okay. So just to make it look nicer, essentially.
So that nothing can grow up under the fence, and yeah, exactly. Keep stuff from growing. I mean, right now there's 1 to 2 foot tall grass that's already started to grow itself up the fence. And Tim has done a good job. They've already cleared out most of the viney invasives. But yeah, the intent would be to keep all that down and away from coming back.
All right.
No, they basically don't put anything else there. So don't let anything reestablish along the edge of the fence.
Fair enough. Thanks.
Okay, great. Anyone else have any other questions?
It is blessed.
All right. Go forth and weed and restructure. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go ahead. I know we still have a lot of discussion items. We'll go ahead and Tim, if it's okay, I'm going to hold off on the rest of those till after.
Sure thing.
Okay, great. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open the 7:45 at 7:54.
Your phone is breaking.
Kyle, you're still on. Okay, so 7:54, we're going to open the public hearing. Notice of intent 2A, Catalpa Pond Way, DEP 204-1034, Kimball's Portable LNG Facility Project. Commissioners, you did receive in your packet a healthy stack of paperwork. So who's here to speak to this evening?
Good evening. My name is Matthew Wozniak. I'm an environmental engineer with Boston Gas Company, and I've got with me Sam Kefferstan.
Okay.
He's an ecologist with the BSC group.
All right.
That's right. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. All right, Matt, are you good for me to take over from here?
Yep, go for it.
Great. So I'll get my camera on. Fantastic. All right. Well, thanks for the intro, Matt. As Matt said, my name is Sam Kefferstan. I'm an ecologist with BSC Group. I reside at 311 River Street in Cambridge, Mass. And BSC Group is filing this notice of intent on behalf of the Boston Gas Company for activities associated with the establishment of a portable liquefied natural gas facility on an existing gravel lot at 2A Cataldo Pond Way in Littleton, Mass. Boston Gas Company is leasing the lot from the owners of Kimball's Farm, and they've secured the necessary rights and permissions for the work proposed and this the operation of the facility from the owners at Kimball's. So the proposed work taking place in Littleton for this project includes tree removals, the installation of pervious and impervious pavement over an existing paved and or densely packed gravel lot. And it also includes the installation of some permanent infrastructure to support the operations of the facility, including gas main, electrical conduit, perimeter fencing, and perimeter lighting associated with the facility. This work is being conducted to support system reliability in the area and peak demand, particularly in the winter months when the facility would be operating. The proposed project is shown on the environmental resources and locus map that was included in our submittal, and all of the work is intended to be conducted from the existing lot or the tree clearing area to support the expansion of the lot. The portions of the project that are jurisdictional under the Wetland Protection Act and or the Littleton Wetland Protection Bylaw are located within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands and inland bank associated with a wetland and an intermittent stream observed on the site. The project is also within Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program priority and estimated habitat. I'll get into some more details about that later. And no portions of the project are to occur within bordering vegetated wetland, the 200-foot riverfront area, bordering land subject to flooding, or the locally regulated 50-foot no disturb zone. The specific activities taking place within the 100-foot buffer zone and the subject of this notice of intent are about 230 linear feet of gas main installation within the existing lot, 615 linear feet of electrical conduit installation within the lot, 1 manhole installation to access the conduit, 12 tree removals and the associated grubbing and paving of that expansion area, the installation of 10,630 square feet of impervious pavement over the existing lot and driveway, the installation of 6,230 square feet of pervious pavement, as well as the installation of LNG facility infrastructure, including safety instrumented send-out skid, mobile control room, 400 linear feet of perimeter fencing, 5 perimeter security lights, an LNG Queen storage trailer, and 2 vaporizer units. And the proposed permanent alterations to the buffer zone, which were captured above, but those are the 12 tree removals, the 10,630 square feet of impervious paving, and the 6,230 square feet of pervious paving. To share more details about the priority and estimated habitats, really the whole of the project is located within estimated and priority habitat for rare and threatened species such as wood turtle and blue spotted salamander. We have been in coordination with Natural Heritage, and we've submitted a MESA checklist to them on April 22nd of 2026 for their review and received the following tracking number, RC-98727, and we're still awaiting their determination. Our reviewer shared late last week that we anticipate a conditional no-take letter, and we expect to implement a turtle protection plan in order to protect the rare species found in the area. And that would include full-time turtle monitoring during construction within sensitive dates. As you said, it was a healthy stack of papers, so we're available to answer any questions you may have as it pertains to your review, as well as the operations of the facility. And looking forward to your questions, and thank you so much for your time.
So Sam, would you like to go ahead and share your screen and show the commissioners 2A Cataldo and the scope of this? And
Sure
it's
thing.
my understanding this is filed in conjunction with the town of Westford as well?
That is correct. Yes, our continued hearing will be taking place with them tomorrow. We've had our first hearing with them on the 22nd of April. Okay.
And we are also going before the Littleton Planning Board on Thursday of this week.
Okay. Would you like to introduce yourself to the commission?
Matt Wozniak, environmental engineer with National Grid, Boston Gas Company. I didn't have the video on earlier. I wasn't sure if I had the bandwidth, but good evening. Thank you for hearing us.
Okay, great. Is everyone able to see my screen okay?
Yes.
Great. So this is the locust map showing, you can make out this is the line between Westford and Littleton. And, this is going to be more detailed of a close-up of the facility. Or rather, the lot.
How do you access the Cataldo Way? I'm not familiar with it.
So the access is going to be off of Littleton Road. Let me see here. You can see it. So you have Littleton Road here. And so this connects to that thoroughfare.
Littleton Road, you mean 110?
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
What is that building we see? I'm just trying to get my locus correct. Is that the former Cataldo nursery?
That's a septic, like a
Is that the
pump house.
access to the
It has
back of
do
Kimball
with their
Farm?
septic system.
Sorry, what was that?
Is that the access to the back of Kimball Farm? Or
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I believe if you follow this road up, this should take. It's been a while since I've been to Kimball's, but to the batting cages. Or the batting area.
It's that access road.
This is
It's the access road just before if you're heading from Littleton to the Kimball Farm. It's that access road to the right, like before the miniature golf. Is that where it is?
I believe
yes,
so.
Carl.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
Well,
correct.
I pulled up Google Maps and I can show. Want me to do that?
I think that would be helpful, Matt.
Yeah, it's trying to pinpoint. That's all.
There's a number of different ways into there.
I can stop sharing so you can take over, Matt.
Thank you.
So Sam, that would be, so you mentioned it's off Littleton Road. So would that require, because that's also a state highway, a curb, a road cut as well that needs to be approved?
There is an existing curb cut. So for your bearings, 495 King Street turns into Littleton Road. This is the Kimball Farm area. There's an existing service road right here.
Okay. Yeah.
Then we're going into the back. There's an existing gravel parking lot, and that's where the LNG facility is proposed to be. It's already disturbed for the most part. It's already compact gravel, but it's well off the road and out of sight, which is what we'd like for an LNG facility.
So I got another question. Now I'm kind of getting my bearing. So there's also an access off of 119 just before the Toyota and right where the farm, where the housing was going in years ago. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's that road right there where it comes loops around Cataldo, Pound Way.
Yes, I believe that's correct. Our intention is to have all of the traffic going out to this entrance. That's why we're paving it. We have estimated, well, we've estimated that we'll require 30 trucks in a season. The reason we have the LNG facility is because in the wintertime, when it's really cold out, the demand exceeds the supply in the distribution network. So we have to supplement the gas. And so that's why we use what we call a portable LNG facility. For the past 2 seasons, we've had this set up in the former IBM campus parking lot, but that property is being redeveloped. And so we are no longer able to use that location. And so that's, after a pretty thorough alternatives analysis, we have reached an agreement with Kimball Farms to pursue locating our portable LNG facility on their property.
Where was it operating on the IBM property?
Yeah, do you know if you can still see my screen? This parking lot here in the back.
Okay.
For the past 2 winters, it's been operating out there. If Shea Street, there's a take station. And so there are certain points in the distribution system that can handle the additional supply from an LNG facility. And on Shea Street, we have one of those, that take station. And so that's why we located it in the parking lot. And that's why this site is appealing to us, because it's in close proximity to the existing infrastructure that we have.
Is Shea Street Westford or Littleton?
This line is Littleton, so it looks like it starts in Littleton, but where the take station is in Westford.
Okay. Yeah, Commissioners, you may recall that we were recently out in the close vicinity to that site behind the medical building when we had IBM try and clean up their mess there.
You said there's a take station or hook or whatever on Shea Street. So does that mean you're gonna have to run pipe to create a new one?
From that station, we are going to run pipe down Littleton Road and then up the driveway to the proposed location. So there's going to be a 200-pound gas line and a 60-pound gas line.
So this is not a temporary, this is a permanent seasonal. Nothing about this is temporary, correct?
Well, it's meant to operate from November 1st to March 31st.
So
and then everything leaves the site, all the equipment leaves. The only thing that's remaining is the fence. But yes, the infrastructure will be there so that this can continue. As like I said, whenever it's really cold out, the supply, there's not enough supply in the distribution lines, so we have to supplement it. Because we can't have people running out of natural gas when they're heating their house in the wintertime.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And we're kind of thinking at it from a wetlands standpoint, where, as you state, the entire project area is located in National Heritage, the entire site that we're looking at. So when we look at a site and you're telling us it's temporary in terms of when the trucks are there, when we're looking at our order of conditions, we're going to take it into effect that this is a temporary 30 trucks. So I'm just trying to understand, is this, once it's done, a year later, you're going to be like, oh, now it's going to be permanent. So we have to look at this from an impact standpoint as well. So that's why I'm just trying to understand the difference between seasonal, temporary, going to be permanent.
So, and there's an existing parking lot here. And that's why it's approximately an acre, which is what the size that we're looking for. So,
right, but you're taking down 12 trees, you're adding fencing, you're adding lights. Like when I look at this, I want to make sure that when you're not there, the lights are not going to be on all the time impacting the habitat.
I can speak to, you know, that was included in our checklist to Heritage, you know, about the security lighting. So we're aware with the species, you know, present in the area that could impact them and their ability for this to be suitable habitat.
You're calling it temporary, but it's really not temporary. Okay, so maybe you take the tank out in the summer, but it's a permanent facility.
Yep.
Right?
Everything is mobile. So everything comes in trucks.
Everything's
and then
mobile.
leaves.
I mean, my house is mobile if I really try hard enough, you know, but what I'm really trying to understand, you're putting in this two big pipes going down, presumably under the road. And you're putting up the fencing and all that. And in the winter, when it's cold, you know, everybody needs the gas. You're going to have some size tank. I can't visualize the size, sorry. And you're going to have 30 trucks, presumably all isolated into the winter windows, going up and down that road. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, over 120 days, we estimate the demand need is 30 trucks over a winter season.
For 4 months.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a pretty significant impact on the wildlife, obviously, the habitat and so forth. The road, you said you were going to be paving it, but it's dirt now?
It's compacted gravel.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's a mix of, it's already either paved or it's densely packed gravel.
Okay. The road coming out in the other direction that goes out to 119, is that paved? I know at least part of it is because I've driven back there before, but you know, it's where those houses and all that are.
I've never driven that road, but
where I'm going with it is if you don't have to pave a large stretch of road, that lets the water get through, that lets the animals still go across comfortably, and it also theoretically saves you guys some money. But this is a pretty major impact to the area, though.
Let's go ahead and let's kind of just ask the commissioners, let them have some of their questions, and then maybe we'll go back and have to just kind of plow through the notes that you've submitted to us. My question is, and I'm curious what the Matt, you'd referred to this, that you looked at alternatives. Who did the alternative analysis?
We did. I mean, we have real estate and operations, and we looked. So we have the take station in Littleton, but we also looked at Acton and Lunenburg take stations and properties around there. Like I said, there's only certain places where we could supplement the gas supply, and this was one of 3 in the area. We looked at over 12 sites, and some were closer to residential, some were, closer to a roadway. This has the benefit of being out of sight. It was within a existing parking lot, and there is some gas infrastructure in the area already. So it was it made sense for us.
And there's nothing across the street where all the, parking fields that's part of Kimball's to stay on the other side?
That was looked at. There's a large septic field in there. And then the area that doesn't have the septic field is very wet. And so and it's also closer to the road, and so it's more visible, and that's less desirable for our type of operation.
And to add on, I'll mention that where the site is currently being proposed, we had gone through several iterations of design to orient the facility in a way that it's completely outside of the 50-foot no disturb, and that all of the the permanent alterations or impacts would only be within the 100-foot buffer zone. So we did, go to great efforts and lengths to mitigate or minimize our impact as much as possible. Matt, I believe too at our, the last hearing, there was some recommendation about what is it, a Japanese or an Asian restaurant that was closed across the street, closer to IBM, but that was also looked at as an alternative, but that's being included as part of the IBM redevelopment and expansion. So it was not feasible for us at this time.
When was out of curiosity, when was that added into that project?
That's what I was told.
Well, during your alternative analysis, you would have had to confirm that, correct?
I was told by someone within the last 2 weeks that was included. You know, we're going before the planning board on Thursday, and they have this redevelopment on their agenda as well. So I can absolutely confirm it with them, but
okay.
It's my understanding that this is not available for us to use. And it's closer to other businesses in the roadway there.
But are you guys buying this property or leasing it from Kimball?
We are leasing it.
When do you expect Natural Heritage to review?
Our 30-day window will be up by May 22nd. Like I mentioned, we had spoken with our reviewer late last week, and you know, they had said they were shooting to have our letter to us by this evening, but you know, we didn't receive it yet. So we don't have our official determination, but they did share they expect a finding of a conditional no take, which means we would follow up by implementing that turtle protection plan in order to you know, make sure the species in the area are protected during construction.
And have they had an opportunity to go out to the site, Heritage?
Heritage has not been to the site as far as I'm aware, but we did conduct a vernal pool survey on the site to inform the MESA checklist, and that was earlier this spring.
Who did the delineation?
That was BSC Group.
So I imagine, Sarah, we probably need to look at the wetland line for starters.
For sure. Okay. Other commissioners, comments, questions? I don't know if everyone's had a chance to kind of plow through the paperwork or not.
Oh, I think, Michael, I think you're muted.
I always do that.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah. I was wondering about like safety and fire suppression and disaster management. There wasn't a whole lot about safety in the package here.
So we're not going to store LNG on the site. When we anticipate a cold spell or a need for the additional gas supply, the truck will come to the site. We have the capacity to discharge from 2 trucks at once, but that won't always be the case. So at most, there could be 2 LNG trucks on the property. And once they hook up, they typically will discharge all their LNG within 24 hours, and then they'll be empty and they'll leave. So once they start the vaporization project, it finishes. So we are not going to be storing any LNG on site for more than, you know, the day or 2 that it takes to offload.
So the LNG tankers, are they, you're unloading to a tank on the property and then it's used by consumers?
Yes.
The truck, it's not, the trucks don't stay on site, the trucks leave.
Right. There's some equipment that's portable that stays on site, but the trucks come and they discharge, and the liquefied natural gas is compressed 600 times versus in the gaseous state. So it's very efficient to store it in a liquid. It's very, very cold, but once you heat it up, it expands. So it's a very efficient way to add a lot of gas to the system from a small number of tanks.
So can I just catch you there for 1 second, that communication? So, because my question was, you mentioned, so the trucks basically are just offloading, so there won't be any overnighting of these trucks?
Well, it'll take them a good 24 hours or 48 hours to completely discharge.
Okay.
We have operation personnel that are there around the clock whenever the LNG trucks will be on site and discharging. And then when they're done discharging, the trucks will leave, and we don't anticipate having personnel at the site because there won't be any need for them because there won't be any LNG there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. That makes sense.
How big are these trucks?
They're like a tanker truck that you'll see on the highway.
Like a big petroleum tanker truck?
Like a big petroleum tank, yep.
And what's the impact going to be that road that Kimball's uses? Doesn't Kimball actively use that road for like outings and accessing the backside of their property?
My understanding is he does, but the amount of activity in the wintertime is significantly diminished.
Yeah,
and so
I would agree with that.
And we're, like I said, we're going to be operating November 1st to the end of March is the heating season for us. So, and while we're talking about it, we're also anticipating construction happening in the wintertime because that would allow us to not impact Kimball operations. And there's also some ecological benefits because it is a habitat. Some of the species are dormant and aren't moving around as much in the wintertime. So that is our plan right now.
But we're all waiting to hear from National Heritage first.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
I would take their recommendation for a construction schedule, not impacting a recreation area.
Yes, 100%.
If they say summer's better, then the summer it is. That's a non-starter for me.
Right.
So we're going to listen to what they say, but
I had a question. So you mentioned trees and 12 or 14, whatever the number is. Is there any? I didn't see any mitigation or restoration, revegetation plan. Did I just miss that in the package? Or
no, the package said that they're not planting any. They're not replanting any.
That's right. Currently, we're moving forward because that area is going to be, an expansion of the lot in order to. And it would be paved over. We were not planning to replant that area. But we had made adjustments to around the outside of the lot. We had opted for pervious pavement over impervious just to, lead to less impervious surface within the 100-foot buffer zone. And in that area, that's going to be cleared.
Yeah, and we've applied for a stormwater permit with the planning board as well.
Yeah, so I guess where I was going with this, and I'm sure others have already started down this path, is we have always been and are continuing to be very protective of our trees and our species and development, removing all of these, and we usually look for some sort of mitigation to that. And I don't think impervious pavement is a suitable replacement of 14 mature trees. Similar to how you would have to do a wetland restoration if you impacted direct wetlands, right? You'd have to find a location to reestablish that somewhere. Our commission usually requires or does require that with our trees as well.
Do you typically require a tree for a tree? Or how is there some kind of calculation that you perform, or what do you look for?
We usually look for some sort of 2-to-1 to 3-to-1 type ratio, and depending on the location, size, species. It could be, you could be creative with how you meet that. If it's shrubs versus local shrubs, that would be more beneficial than trees.
And I believe in the packet you did have the outline of the trees, correct? Diameters.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw the
we
species.
followed that tree
Right.
removal checklist, so it
Yeah,
should
I saw
have
that. Yeah.
the species, DBH.
Yeah, and so I think we have guidance. Tim has guidance. I think if it's not on the on our commission website, we have some guidance.
That is something that I think wholeheartedly the commission would stand behind and would look forward to seeing some addressing that for sure. Okay.
Okay.
Any other kind of comments at this time for commissioners? We would also set up a time for a site walk. Would you like to set up a time for a site walk or wait to have your planning board meeting and your second Westford meeting before, because we do meet next Tuesday?
Well, yeah, we're meeting with Westford tomorrow and the planning board on Thursday, so Friday might, or I guess if you're meeting again next week, then I think Friday works for me.
I think I could find time to make that work as well, sometime Friday or before meeting again next Tuesday.
Right. So we are already full we have a very large site walk on Thursday. And then I believe it's going to be very inclement one of those days, Thursday or Friday. And then I believe we have another one over the weekend, this weekend or next weekend. Commissioners, what would you like to do? I can't do Friday.
I don't see how this can get fit in.
Sorry, what'd you say, Ed? I didn't hear you.
I don't see how this can fit with the weather and other things coming along. And we're only talking available a few days.
What about the following Monday?
Depends on what time for me.
Or is that Memorial Day?
No.
No, that's the next
The
Monday.
week before Memorial.
I'm out of town for that week.
I'm out of town. I won't be available.
Oof, okay.
When's your next meeting after the 19th? Do you meet on the 2nd?
June 2nd.
Yep.
All right, I feel like maybe getting everything together in 1 week might be tight.
So I think the suggestion would be continue this with everyone's permission, meet on the 19th, and take in what you've learned from the input from planning board and from Westford. And then we can look at our calendars to kind of address those concerns, do a site walk, and then hopefully come back with something more concrete for June 2nd. But in the hopes that we would certainly meet out on site prior to the second meeting.
And in that time too, we may receive our formal determination from Heritage too.
Yep.
So
it would also be beneficial when we're out there to see where the trees would be planted.
Yep, to come up with something. And that gives you time to ponder that as well. So with your permission, we would continue this to next Tuesday. You can always push it off if there's nothing to update us on, but we would like to carry it over. Tim, is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So with your permission, we would go ahead and continue this to next week.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's do that.
And in the meantime, I know Kyle, you had mentioned about the replication or replacement. What was that ratio?
Minimum would be 2-to-1.
Okay.
Yeah. But we do have quite a few that are 3-to-1. But you take into account where the trees are, the species, the diameter kind of values of those. Tim can probably offer you some guidance on that as
Yeah,
well.
we can look to connect offline, but just to have a takeaway. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioners, any other questions on this hearing? Okay. Thank you for your information. We'll see you next week.
Sounds great. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, it's 8:30. Sorry to keep everyone else waiting. Let's go ahead and open the continued discussion, the enforcement order, non-permitted dredging, 8 Blood Road. All right, Tim, can you let everybody speak?
Yep, I promoted over John.
Okay.
And so,
Yep. So John, just so you know, you're muted and camera off. So Tim, if you want to take it from here and talk about the scope of services and that was submitted for review.
Yeah, and so what we were waiting on since we last discussed was for the scope of services to be submitted to us, and Green finally got that over, detailing what the bathymetry survey would consist of, and also the price of that as well. And the commission was curious, if at the last meeting there was discussion about entertaining alternative options for restoration rather than in the direct location of where the disturbance occurred, and what the monetary value of a survey would be, and kind of transferring that over to monetary value of providing in-kind services, whether it be at Forge Pond or at other locations on town property or other water bodies in town.
So sorry, did I miss it? So Tim, did you share with the commission already what the thoughts were from council? How they, and I think, John, we shared this with you at the last meeting, but perhaps not other applicants as well, is that they didn't feel as though you were able to do that in terms of like in-kind services and things like that from council.
So yeah, council recommended against in-kind services at both Forge Pond and other water bodies. They really recommended against other water bodies. They thought if there's any restoration, it really should be at Forge Pond. And they recommended it be similar to other enforcement orders where the restoration is directly correlated to the violation that occurred in the disturbance of the wetland resource area. It's, with other enforcement orders, it's kind of cut and dry, right? You remove a tree, you replant, a couple of trees. With this one, what are you gonna ask? Put sediment back where it was. And that's why DEP, when we spoke to them about this, they said, have the area be a no disturb area for a set period of time to allow that sediment to reaccumulate. But great. I know it was also entertained at the last meeting, something like shoreline plantings or other things in that general area of the lake could be an option for restoration as well.
Okay, so we were sent along that proposal. John, did you have an opportunity to look at that?
Yes, I saw the proposal.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts of that? I don't know, commissioners, if you had a chance to look at that. I was thinking more about the scope of the services. What are your thoughts on that proposal, John?
Seemed pretty cut and dry. We made a call to another company out of Worcester that said they could do the entire lake for $3,500. I mean, I'm not arguing the price at all. I'm sure that's just probably a day rate that they're giving us for the small area.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's just what it is. So just different day rates, different companies. Maybe I could forward that information to Tim, maybe save the town some money on some surveying in the future.
Yeah, for sure. Always happy to have more information. So I recognize this has been a long process, and I know we all want to keep this ball rolling. Are you happy with going forward with using this surveying service?
In what regard?
Well, DEP has asked us to kind of follow the track of getting some type of surveying forward. And so this, and I think Tim has made many calls, and I think this is the only one that we've actually had some responses to. So unless you have found someone else that you want to submit to us with kind of like the same scope that was submitted.
Yeah, I would contact the other company and submit them just so you had a cross-reference. But what would we do with the information?
Yeah, I am in the same boat here, Sarah. I mean, you guys have talked with DEP, and apparently this is where they're pushing us, but one of the exclusions of this is sediment depths, right? So I thought that was kind of our purpose, was to try to figure out a baseline of what the sediment is in areas, and now, what it is. If we just go out there and do a topo survey, all we're going to do is get bathymetry of the lake bottom. It's not going to show us what was disturbed or what has been removed. So,
well, I think if you look at this scope, they're also looking at taking elevations as well.
Right, but elevations of what's there at the bottom right now, right? So, but we don't have anything to compare that to, and they're not going to penetrate sediment to.
Mm-hmm.
I would get it if they went and said, cool, we're at 7 feet here, 7 feet here, and now this spot we have 6 inches of sediment, and here we have 0 inches of sediment. Here is a fine line where we believe the edge of his removal of sediment is, right?
Right.
If we're not doing that, then I think this is a huge waste of our time and money, or other people's money. Sorry.
Okay.
I thought we had said that this was something we didn't feel was beneficial. I don't see any why we would do something just to say that we checked off a box.
Okay.
So the original reason why DEP recommended this survey was to try to understand whether or not the amount of material that was dredged exceeded the 99 cubic yards, and would have triggered the need for a Chapter 91 permit from DEP. When I talked to Green, they said that they can't accurately assess that because they don't have a pre-dredging survey to go off of. They can get a good guess, but it's not going to be exact.
Yeah, I think we have a better idea of that by talking to the two homeowners and going through the process of what they removed from there, how many truckloads and blah blah blah, all of that. I'm more leaning if the restoration is tree line or shoreline restoration and do not disturb for however long DEP recommends. That's where I'd like to go personally.
Yep. That sounds like a good plan. What are other commissioners? What are your thoughts? And John, I appreciate your patience with us. We're just trying to find that medium that will work for everyone.
I'd agree with Kyle as well. I'm just not sure that we'd really benefit from this survey. Ultimately, what are we going to do with the data? And we're not going to get an accurate survey regardless. So it's just, a lot of money for.
Yeah. So if we're talking
money for restoration.
Yeah, but if we're talking replication, you're still going to need some type of surveying so that you'll know where the plantings are going to go and have the soil to make it viable to actually live. So they're not wasting money to have something that's not going to take and live in that area. So I don't want to say that there's not going to be any surveying. It's something will have to be plotted, whatever is chosen for plantings.
Are we talking about aquatic plantings or?
You're talking shoreline, so right on the ground at the edge of the water.
Were some removed though? I don't recall.
No, it's not what I heard.
Nothing above waterline was touched.
And we've done-
what water line, existing water line now?
We've done restoration plans that didn't require a formal survey. Someone drew a picture. Look at the one over on King Street. He drew a picture and put a bunch of circles where he's going to put his trees and bushes. That's not a formal survey, so I'm struggling with why we feel that we need any kind of formal survey. Maybe I'm missing something, and it's very possible.
I think I agree with that.
Well, I think you need to know where the high water line is too, though. So you're not going to put plantings. I mean, obviously, because this was done during the drawdown, we need to establish where your high water mark is, so that way you know where the plants are going to be most viable. Because I think they will. I think, you know, financially, the lake will still continue to have invasive controls, and they'll still continue to do drawdowns as well. So I think as long as John knows, or everyone knows where that line is.
Where and why would we be putting plants in on the shoreline?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm asking. Is it, you know, just part of, you know, adding back something?
Well, I think ultimately the vegetation will help with erosion control as well.
There's no erosion or anything on the shoreline now or before.
Aren't there a lot of trees and other things there already?
It's mostly just all beach right now.
Oh, in front of the house, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a small section between the two properties of existing trees.
Yeah. So I don't have a plan for the plantings. I'm trying to help you out and come up with an alternative plan here than making you spend $6,000 on a survey. So you have to be creative a little bit here, I guess.
No, I appreciate it. I mean, I wish we could just, you know, in-kind service, you know, do something someplace else on the lake or help out somewhere.
John, I think we all agreed with that, but legal counsel said no. So,
what if we take whatever amount of money it's going to get spent and put that toward the removal of invasives?
Tim,
we'd have to check with
you broached that already, didn't you?
Yeah, I
Why would that be a bad thing? I mean, it's benefiting the lake. It's benefiting everyone.
Council said that if you were going to go the route of looking how much it was going to cost to have this survey done, but choose not to have it done and replace, or I guess receive that monetary value in some other way than having the survey done, they recommended it be issue in fines, not
but I kind of get that, because you don't want people in the future to do something and then, you know, mitigate it off by. I mean, I understand what council is saying. Don't you? I mean, wasn't there a reason for taking? Don't you use that beach? Wasn't that the reason? Like, if you're gonna have a bunch of plantings in there. I don't.
Yeah, it wasn't saying like their beach area. There's other spaces in between the property or the point by where the dock is. Like, I don't know.
And I keep coming back to, okay, so we'd rather have fines, but we haven't since I've been, and I haven't been as long as anyone else, we haven't issued fines. We've told people, okay, put, you know, more trees or, you know, put back the trees you took out, or whatever. I keep coming back to trees because that's what I focus on a lot. But I haven't, unless I've missed it, we threatened fines to somebody, but they then came around and did the work and we got rid of, you know, the fines went away. So I don't understand why council is focusing on telling us to do fines.
Well, they weren't. We were asking about all the options. Like,
they don't want to set a precedent by allowing mitigation for a violation. They don't want to kind of go down that road.
But
what if I
haven't
come
we
in
already in the past?
It's because it's a violation versus if you're working with someone like when we did with Amazon, they were able to do other plantings, other places as well. But I think it's because this is a violation that we don't have as much liberty to make decisions.
That's right, Sarah. That's right.
So
definitely be more inclined.
It puts us in a tough corner. What it really does. It's yeah, you're right, Sarah. That's exactly it.
Andrew, what were you saying?
Oh, sorry, everybody. I can't tell if my earbuds are working tonight. I'd definitely be more inclined to doing some kind of planting. I really don't want to see fines on the site. Ultimately, that just goes into the general fund, and it doesn't really benefit the pond or the ecosystem, anything there. So I mean, if we could do some plantings, that's my favorite approach so far.
And so when we're talking about these are kind of upland. They're not impacting. They're not going to get, if we ever have a rainy year, the water comes up or high water, it's not really looking in the immediate waterfront. It's in an area that can help with pollinators or help on the lake for sure.
And anything that helps treat the lake, slow down drainage is always good, Sarah.
Like purifying it a little.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think this has been a healthy, good discussion. We've kind of come around in a circle, but I think we're in the right direction. What would we like to direct John and our next applicant to come up with what type of planting plan? Because you might need someone that's, does that for a living to come up with that. John, typically when we see plans, it's in reference to other large diameter trees or a house or a structure. So if someone were to look at that plan, it would be very plain for them to see, okay, this is where the shrubs are going to go or the other plants are going to go.
How close to the wetlands are the plants? Like, is this within the 100-foot buffer, 50-foot buffer, 100-foot buffer, 150-foot? Like, what is it? Because we have each property line to property line, basically.
Yeah.
If it's outside that buffer, I'm sure we could find a spot, but there isn't a lot of open, unused area. And I'm pretty sure Irving's property is beach to boat ramp, and there's a small section of trees between there, but everything is existing and non-disturbed. I feel like we'd be making more disturbance putting anything if it was anywhere close to the wetlands. If we went further back, I know that we'd probably find some more room, but anything near the water, I feel like we should be disturbing more. Where would we be able to put these things?
This I think we did this with the water department. Is this a site where we are in the situation where we don't have a location for this mitigation work and we look off-site? Didn't the water department plant trees at one of their other facilities because they just couldn't put any more replication for the well project or something like that? Is that
right? Because there wasn't actually physically a space for that, but
that's what I'm saying, right? If we look at this and say we can't plant shrubs in beach sand, right? That's not going to survive if there's no feasible options. And I'm not saying there aren't. I'm saying if we get to a point where we work with John and go to the site or something again and say, yeah, this.
Right. I think in order to do that, which I think would be a good alternative, is that either one or two commissioners would have to go back on site and just be able to say, in fact, just because I've only been there once and other commissioners have only been there once or twice, to be able to say, yes, in fact, there's nowhere within, the shoreland 100 feet that, John just doesn't have space, then you can look alternatively. But I think for the records, we would need to solidify that you can't do anything there. Does that make sense?
I absolutely agree. Absolutely 100% agree with you.
What would a fine to save us all time of all this? What would a rough fine number be? Would it be half of the 5,000?
I don't think, and Tim, correct us if we're wrong, but we can't give fines. It's very specific.
Right.
It comes back to tickets. You get, you have to go to court practically every day, and it's, John, it doesn't,
Yeah, so what council recommended was the fine be, if the commission went that route, the fine be equal to the amount of what the quote came in for the bathymetry survey, but there's issues with that because under the bylaw and the Wetlands Protection Act, you can only fine up to, I think it's $150 each day for each of those. So it totals $300 a day. So it would be drawn out, for however long it takes to get to that $6,000 number, or if there was a cheaper.
Because John, you can't do it retroactively. So the fines, if we agreed to fine, it would start today and then go every day. I don't think.
What if we just said, you know what, you did a bad thing, don't do it again, and I will give a donation and we walk away from this?
I think what Kyle is trying to say is that we've had situations like this before where you can't actually physically plant there, but you plant somewhere else, or you come up with that value of those trees to plant somewhere else. So I think that might be the best path, is just to have a commissioner or two come out and just say, yep, you're right, we can't plant anything on your property. Let's look elsewhere. You come up with that value, and that gets planted somewhere else.
Now, when we come up with that value, could I just pay that fine? Or
so that's we can't set that precedent where, I understand you admit that you made a mistake and then just pay a value, right? It would just become a precedent that it's acceptable, and it would happen a lot more often, right? Somebody can say, "Oops, I made a mistake. Well, here's $5,000." Like I'm talking large developers or something like that. That would be pennies to them, right? So we can't set a precedent to say, do nothing, pay money, and we'll call it good.
Technically, it wouldn't be a precedent. It would be a good faith donation
from you.
Yeah,
but the next person would come in and say, "Well, you let him make."
Well, there'd be no proof of that.
So I think what's going to happen is that there are going to be items that are going to get planted. We just don't know where they're going to get planted right now. So. And okay. I could be incorrect, Commission. Tell me if that's the path that we're going through.
And that's just
John would just have to come up with, okay, here's the value of the trees or shrubs or whatever those items might be. And if they don't fit on your property, we'll figure out where they're going to go, but they will get planted somewhere in town.
That's the
and I would still say recommend
benefits everybody.
Yeah,
doesn't just throw money into the general coffer.
No.
So yeah. I just think that's the best option.
Yeah, unless somebody else can come up with something else, it seems to be.
We do have a hand raised. Do you want to open up the next public hearing and hear from the property owner of 2 and 6 Blood Road?
Well, we have to close this one. But we don't close it. Sorry, we're not closing it.
Well, you can have them both subsequently open at the same time, if you wanted to.
If John says that's okay.
Yeah, or
it's Irv that wants to talk. Or Gil. Okay. I have. Well, can you? You should be on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you opening that? So is this now open, Sarah? I just want to make sure.
Yeah. Sorry. So it's now, for the record, it is 8:53, and we are going to talk to the Mathesons of 2 and 6 Blood Road. We're still keeping open the 8 Blood Road for additional comments. Okay.
Can you guys hear us?
Yes.
Great. I don't think we have any problem with planting some trees. Irv and I have been speaking about maybe a willow tree, but we do have space not on our beach because our beach is already treed in and we never get sun. But on number 6 and on number 2, if you want us to plant trees, hedges, we're fine with that.
Okay.
We have the property to do it and it's not an issue.
Okay. All right, so if we can hold the line here for a second, I thought maybe there might be a question here, but so what I'd like to do, just as a point of order, I want to go back to John for 8 Blood Road and close out for the discussion for this evening. So John, with your permission, I'd like to continue this to next Tuesday. We meet next Tuesday, but in the meantime, if it's okay, we can have Tim or come out with one more commissioner just to kind of reassess and look and be like, okay, are there any options for you for planting, if that's okay?
Yes. If Irv and Gail have room on their properties, would I be able to put some of my resources to if we can't find
okay, so what I want to do as a point of order, I just want to make sure we're keeping them separate. Okay, so that may end up happening, but for this conversation right now, let's just we're trying to focus on you. So with your permission, we'd like to continue this to next Tuesday. And in the meantime, that you would work in conjunction with Tim and Lauren and maybe one other commissioner just to re-pop back out to your site and kind of look at that, if that's okay.
All right. And when will we be able to lift the boating restriction?
Can we talk about that next? We have to come up with a plan first before that can change.
Well, I was going to ask about DEP, right? That was DEP's recommendation. I have no professional knowledge or background on that at all. I think we have to rely on DEP on that.
Well, so DEP didn't give a specific time. They recommended the commission come up with the time.
Okay. So let's follow this. Okay, let's hold the path. So let's follow this. Let's come up with a resolution for the planting that can also be given to DEP and say, in good faith, we're doing this. What are your thoughts on guidance for the boating? Okay. I know this is very difficult at times, but
it's frustrating.
So John, are you okay with that? So that we would continue you to next Tuesday, and hopefully before Tuesday, the agent can come out and a commissioner can come out, and that way we can come up with what would be appropriate. Hopefully next
Tuesday. There's a meeting this upcoming Tuesday, correct?
Correct. We're meeting next Tuesday. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
So now we're going to go ahead and officially open the 801, and it's 8:56 for 2 and 6 Blood Road. So what I would like to do before we open that is that we need to amend the enforcement order like we did with 8 Blood Road. So what I would like to do is to make a motion before we come into discussions. I'm going to make a motion to move to amend the enforcement order associated with 2 and 6 Blood Road to explicitly include a prohibition of installation of docks and traversing the area with motorboats. That's a motion. Do we have a second or discussion? This is the same language that we used at the last meeting.
Second. That's
okay.
All right. Roll call vote. Roll call vote. Ed.
Votes no.
Sarah.
Sarah Seward, aye.
Carl.
Carl Melberg, aye.
Kyle.
Kyle Maxfield, aye.
Michael.
Michael Livingston, aye.
Myself, aye. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ayes and 1 nay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we are back to 2 and 6 Blood Road. So you were able to, I think, hear our conversation back and forth with your neighbor. And so we appreciate your opportunity to work with us and hopefully submitting some planting suggestions as well. You had mentioned willow. Do you have any other thoughts for trees or like anything with the soils that are there? Can be
yes, we do, because the soil is it's very gravelly and acidic. So we were kind of thinking maybe a small Christmas tree patch. Don't you think? Yeah, Christmas trees could go in there. Some white pine. As much as I hate that, I just want you to know
that it's primarily white pine here now. We could plant some, some white pines in some bare spots or whatever.
I don't think white pine really does much for the water quality. If our goal
well, that's
is
all
to,
that's on. Well, I'm sorry, but that's all that's on our property. That and oak. I mean,
I know,
we are so treed in here.
If we have the opportunity, we should look afar from that if we can.
So I think also it doesn't have to be a tree. It can be a shrub, something that can also help as what we call different pollinators or something that can help with a little bit diversity there as well.
And
doesn't have to be a big tree. It can be, but I don't know your soils, so it can be other. And Tim and Lauren can help you with that to maybe give you some suggestions of different wetland plantings that might work.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, because it is a difficult soil.
For sure. Yep, for sure. Do you have time, hopefully before next Tuesday, if they are out on the Scott's property, to kind of allow commissioners to pop back over and maybe?
Absolutely. I'm home all the time.
Okay. So with your permission, can we extend this to next Tuesday?
Yes.
And hopefully come up with something that is more tangible, and you can give us some suggestions and locations where you might like to plant those.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, commissioners, any other questions for the Mathesons? Okay, thank you. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then Tim and Lauren will be in touch with you to try and come back out for a quick visit.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, commissioners, and Jim, I see that you've joined us. Let's kind of come back. We still have quite a few things to do on the administrative discussions. So, Tim, request for minor modification 65 Bruce, DEP 204-1016.
Yep. So I'm going to share my screen. If you can remember, this project was approved for septic work as well as an addition for a garage. The property owner reached out to us last week, proposing to move the location of the addition and garage. And it looks like the footprint is actually a little bit smaller than what was approved. And so in discussing with him, I thought that the commission might be open to this as a minor modification. He also proposed paving the existing gravel driveway. And I thought, with both of those, that might elevate it to more than just a minor modification. And I didn't know that the commission would necessarily feel comfortable with approving both those things as a minor modification. So it's really your guys' call if you feel comfortable with this being a minor mod. If not, if you just feel comfortable with the relocation of the garage being a minor mod, and you want to see an RDA for the paving of the gravel driveway, up to you guys.
I look at minor modifications as kind of usually benefits. So the fact that they've kind of lessened where the locations might be, I would be okay with a minor modification for that, but the driveway would be to go from gravel to paved.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's a minor modification. Commissioners, what are your thoughts?
How much of the driveway is within jurisdiction?
This is the 100-foot right here. So all of this area is proposed to be paved within the 100. So a fair amount.
Oh,
Yeah. I agree with Sarah.
Not
Other
doing a
commissioners?
minor modification doesn't mean that we are necessarily not going to allow it, though. Just different paperwork.
Well,
'Cause I'm not sure packed gravel versus asphalt, is there really that much difference?
It can be. It depends on,
we've turned down other people for this.
So Tim, what would you like for us to do for minor modification if that's what the commissioners want to do?
A vote for the minor mod, specifically calling out that the minor mod is only for the relocation of the garage and not for the paving of the existing driveway that's proposed. And then just reiterating that if they want to do the paving, that you'd like to see an RDA or an NOI if you choose to go that route for that work.
Okay. Commissioners, would someone like to make that motion?
I'll make a motion that the commission approve the movement of the garage as shown on the revised plan as a minor modification, and to further guide the applicants that if they're looking to do the pavement of the garage, pavement of the driveway, they'll have to file that as an RDA.
Second.
All right, roll call vote. Ed.
Ed Foltz, aye.
Michael.
Michael Livingston, aye.
Kyle.
Kyle Hansfield, aye.
Carl.
Carl Melber, aye.
Sarah.
Sarah Seward, aye.
And myself, aye. It's unanimous.
Okay, thank you. We don't have the presentation for Bumblebee tonight. The next is request for minor modification, 64 Beaver Brook Lot 1, DEP number 204-1018, and 3, Lot 3, DEP 204-1019.
Yep. So we had our pre-construction meeting, going over the erosion controls and giving the green light for the tree removal over at 64 Beaver Brook last week or the week prior. While we were out there, we were talking to the contractor, Sean Keenan, and he was looking to see if the commission would be amenable to a minor modification, changing the approved stream crossing, which is approved to be a box culvert. And I'll share the detail here for that. And he's proposing, instead of doing the box culvert, doing a 3-sided culvert. And I'll also share the design that he sent over for that. Or if you guys want to see the box culvert and you don't want to see any other culvert getting clarification, or I guess confirmation on that, or if you wanted to, or if you were open to the 3-sided culvert, wanting to see that as a requested amendment to the existing order, clarification there. So this is the culvert that is in the approved plan. You can see there's 4 feet of clearance between the crossing and the native soil material. They'd have to excavate about 2 feet of native soil material here, and a little bit more so that they can put the 12 inches of pea stone below. And I will now pull up the proposed 3-sided culvert and share that. I'll zoom in on the detail here. I can figure out where the zoom button is.
Up on the top.
There we go. It was hidden. Oh, I won't do that. So one thing I stressed to Sean was that I'm sure the commission would want to see that the new proposed culvert meets the Massachusetts stream crossing standards, because that was what was required for the approval of the box culvert.
Yeah, I guess I'm surprised that I mean, we just had this, ironically, this discussion about what's considered a minor modification. And I feel like everyone was really diligent in the approval of truly a box culvert.
Yeah, I'm really shocked that we went with a box culvert and not a 3-sided. I feel like we've had conversations about this, and that we wouldn't have asked for them to look into a 3-sided culvert.
Just for my own information, what's the value of one over the other here?
Well, the 3-sided would be less disturbance, first of all. they would be able to leave the stream bed mostly intact, the center of the stream bed, instead of having to replace the stream bed after they install the four-sided culvert or the box culvert.
Ecologically, they are much more favorable.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, you're supposed to reinstall the stream bed in the bottom of your box culvert anyway. But yeah, like Carl said, I think the
aquatic organism passage.
Yeah.
Better.
So for this minor modification, Tim, have they proven that they do meet the stream crossing standards?
I wouldn't say that they've proven it. I'm going to scroll down to this next
Sorry, I
page.
missed the beginning. That they have or they have not?
I wouldn't say that they have. They attached this form. Sorry that this is a really funky format.
No, well, we got this. I mean, the form is just, that's not written by them. That's taken from
right,
them.
and this is just like general guidance.
That doesn't mean that they've met the standards. That's what they want to do.
Right.
So commissioners, what are our thoughts on this? Do we want to entertain a minor modification if they can, in fact, meet the standards?
Tim, how long is the three-sided culvert?
One moment, I just closed
like 6
it.
feet.
Right. Yeah,
it was 6 or 10 feet.
It's 6 feet, but it looks it's kind
Yep,
of
6 feet. Here, I'll share this again. Sorry, I just closed it.
I mean, I'm much more in favor of this design. I guess how we approve it is what we need to figure out. Sarah, is that the concern?
Yeah. Well, I think because we haven't really had time to digest this to make sure it actually does meet standards. And I know it's submitted by an engineer, but
It says 6 by 6 feet.
All right, thanks.
Tim, is that plan stamped or is that says preliminary on it?
Let me check. Let me zoom out.
Is the 3-sided or whatever just as stable as the other one? Or are they going to end up coming back in 4 or 5 years and doing?
I mean, historically, they've had good success.
Yeah, it'll be just as stable. It'll just have a different foundation system than it just being a box. It'll have these actual footings that you can see on this plan instead of just being a box.
I don't see a stamp on it, Sarah.
So I guess I'm not opposed to it, but I want it like legitimate.
You want it stamped? You want to see that it meets the street crossing standards? Explained how it does. Okay, and you, I guess if we can have a takeaway from this, you guys are fine with this being proposed as a minor mod. You don't want to see it as a request, amended order request.
What's the,
okay, I got you there. Okay.
Yeah, what's the overlap?
No, I got it. So
using
it would be amended then. So does
So the amendment, they have to go through the process of re-notifying, and we issue a whole nother amended order of conditions. Minor mod would just, we wouldn't have, the applicant wouldn't have to notify, and it could theoretically be approved just at the next.
Do we see any? Is there any value?
The criteria though that was used on the previous one? You know, Sarah, where you said generally a minor mod is an improvement. If we do say that this is an improvement because we're disturbing less of the stream bed, would that theoretically make this eligible for a minor mod?
Well, I'm looking at a summary of what is considered minor modifications, and I mean, it seems like it falls within them. You know, the footprint doesn't really change. The materials will be largely the same. There isn't going to be a great deal of change to slope or grading. The impact doesn't appear to be greater.
Right.
And the scope of the project isn't substantially changed.
And some
So,
might
I mean,
say,
just like reading off the list of stuff here, it does
Yeah.
seem like it could be considered a
Okay.
minor modification.
so what are our thoughts, just to recap, that we would consider consider this as a minor modification if they can demonstrate what we spoke of earlier?
Yeah, and like you said, I would want somebody signing off on this. Everything they have on this says designed by others. Like all the key components of it, the structural, the footings, the wall, that would be the new embankment. It all just says designed by others. So the idea is great. They need somebody to sign off on it that it works.
Okay.
Do you guys want to see anything on top of that? It meets just the stream crossing standards. Do you want to see any sort of stream flow analysis, anything extra? I guess that's part of that is probably encompassed within them showing that it meets the stream crossing standards. But I just
Yeah, I mean, they're
Okay.
exactly the same, right? They're both showing a 4-foot clearance. They're both showing native soil as the base. I don't know what would change there. So as far as I'm concerned, that's the same, and it's fine with me. I'm more worried about the structural side of it, honestly. To Ed's point, right? We want something there that's going to stay and not have to be repaired in 2 years.
So, Tim, I think what you're hearing is that I don't think that we're going to take action on this right now. If you want to give them our feedback, because this is a discussion. So, commissioners, do we feel okay with that? And then if they wish to come back for next Tuesday or for June, I mean, nothing changes. They can still stay the course and do what they're doing with the box. But if they do wish to have a modification, they need to do a few more steps.
Yep, I like that.
Good.
Okay. All right, are we good with that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Let's see, site walks. So, Tim, do you want to go over site walks?
Yep, we have. So I think Lauren sent around an email when I was out at the end of last week. We have the site walk for the transmission lines on Thursday at 5 o'clock. We're meeting over on Janes Way, and we're going to start on the section that is on the west of Great Road, and we're going to work east. So we have that for Thursday. It looks like it's going to be downpouring.
Are we doing a loop, or are we going from point to point? Do we need to post cars at one end?
I think I spoke with Allison, the representative, and she said that we should be able to get away with like carpooling from point to point instead of having to walk the entire thing.
Okay. And then can you send us a reminder with that tomorrow so that we know?
Absolutely.
James Way, I had to look that one up.
And we were going to, we thought we had a date to do the groundwater monitoring site walk over at Amazon, and then we reached out to the groundwater monitoring folks, and they said they really can't do anything before Memorial Day. So we're going to be sending out another email here. Hopefully that one tomorrow with some dates and times.
I'll send some of them next week. I'll give them help.
Okay.
The one on Thursday, knowing the weatherman has called for some seriously heavy rain, do we want to think about rethinking that now versus having people not show up?
I mean, we have pushed it.
I'm not trying to cause controversy, but
I mean, I'll go as long as it's not thundering and lightning.
Yeah,
I'd say I would agree with you, sir. I can't make it anyway, so I'm off the table with this. But if I committed to it, I'd be there.
So who's going besides Tim and I? Ed, you're going. Michael, anybody going? Carl?
I was planning to, yeah.
I've got a meeting right at that time.
Okay.
I will have to see what's happening at work. 5 o'clock is the I get it 5, 6 o'clock. But if I can make 5 o'clock, and
Carl, are you around on Thursday?
I might be.
Okay.
I should know more tomorrow.
All right.
that
Well, I'll be
retired
around.
life is kind of filling, isn't it, Kyle?
If I'm around, I'll go.
Okay. All right. So let's kind of hold the course, and then we always have the option that if it looks really bad, we can cancel. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Kyle had asked for updates on some roads.
Yep. So to Haddon, what is it? Gosh, I can't remember. 158.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. He's talking about the property that the Gallaghers just purchased, the one that was up for sale across from Browns Woods. As far as I know, they were planning on keeping all of that work outside of Concom's jurisdiction, and I believe that is still the case. I can check in with planning department. They should be in front of them right now, and confirm that is still the case for that.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Mill
97 Mill. Yep. And this is one, Kyle, that we talked about, but I haven't. I meant to talk with Henry about this, but I honestly just forgot. To my knowledge, the only change with what was supposed to be happening with that project was staying interior of the building, and so it was going to be outside of our purview, because that project got permitted to essentially get a shell.
That's exactly what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why they had put up erosion controls, which made sense, but they have taken 90%, maybe not 90, 50% of them down, and then today there was trucks and trailers parked outside of their erosion control. Okay. So they're just starting to creep a little bit, and they're
we'll get over there.
Construction.
We'll get over there tomorrow, and we'll reach out to the water department and ask them why that was, because we didn't give them the approval to take down the erosion controls yet.
Yeah, because I get that the shell of the building is that's the work, and we don't have any say on that, but it's all within our jurisdictional area, right? So yeah, we had met with them originally, so yeah.
Yeah, they should have contacted us before they were planning on getting rid of those erosion controls.
Yeah, I freaked out a little bit. They had started putting tarps on the ground and everything because they recoated the frame, the metal frame. So they were trying to contain everything, but I was like, that's great. You're doing a great job there, but now all of your erosion controls are just down on the ground. So if we'd had like a bad rain or something like that, it would have been a disaster.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeez. Okay. All right. Jim, are you with us? I see that you're here.
I am, Sarah. Yes.
How was your earlier meeting?
My early meeting was good, thank you. It ended. I'm sorry I missed the beginning of the meeting, but I'm glad I was able to get here for the end of this one.
Yeah, that was good. So Jim and I have been talking a little bit about just kind of some just oversights of time on with us as associate member. And so he has some new opportunities coming as well. So I was going to give Jim an opportunity just to kind of chat with us for a little bit, and glad you're here.
Well, thank you, Sarah. Thank you for that time. And thank you all. First of all, it's almost 9:30, and so I certainly don't want to keep people late at this hour. But I was thinking about it. Let me try to make, maybe if I could, 3 brief points. The first is I think this group deserves tremendous credit. I mean, the amount of time and commitment that this commission puts in to dealing with these issues is remarkable. To be going, past 9 o'clock regularly on a Tuesday evening, and the level of detail and the level of care that's given to these issues, I think is a great credit to the commission and a great service to the town. So I appreciate that. And I think I wish more people knew quite, how much work the commission was doing, but I think it's something the town should really appreciate. The second is that, as Sarah mentioned, I have taken on some new responsibilities recently. One, chairing a nonprofit that's taking a lot of my time, and another, an activity that actually tends to meet on Tuesday evenings now, which is why I couldn't be here earlier and can't make most of these meetings going forward. And as you've all noted, I haven't had much to say. I don't have the technical expertise that many of these matters call for, and I think it's probably my talents can be whatever they are, can be better utilized elsewhere. And so I think I'm going to step down to avoid, cluttering up the screen here and taking up time to to be on the commission that I'm not really contributing to. So I'll be sorry to be leaving, but I am going to be working with Andrew to figure out the right way to step off and not be in the way. And the third, as Sarah said, I thought, in the interest of stepping off, I've listened and I've seen a lot of great things done here. I don't have a lot of comments on the technical side of many of these matters. I have been on a number of boards and chaired a couple of other boards and commissions. And the one observation I've had listening, or the one question, I think better put as a question, that I've had listening here is, given the amount of time, the number of matters that come to the commission, the amount of time they take, is it possible for the commission to think about restructuring its process or evolving its process a bit such that the staff, meaning Tim primarily and Lauren, are asked to present matters more with recommended solutions and actions up front, as opposed to what I see happening today, which is the staff presents the facts and then the commission has to begin, deliberating and considering a path of action kind of de novo on the call. I think in many organizations, it's kind of, best practice that a full-time staff is asked in presenting issues wherever possible, particularly on more, you might say, simpler, more straightforward issues, to present the facts and a recommended action that the commission members can review and approve, retaining decision-making responsibility and saving the time of the commission either to have shorter meetings or to focus proactively on issues that have a greater potential impact on the conservation mandate. So I offer that as a question. And again, it's late. I don't expect that we're going to kind of resolve that tonight, but in talking with Sarah, it seemed like a question that I could offer, and I'd be happy to discuss it or hear any other comments on it tonight and discuss it with Sarah and others afterwards to the degree there's interest. So thank you.
Yeah, I think, well, foremost, we wish you well, and sounds like you've got some lots of things on your hands coming forward as well. So it's interesting, Jim, you make that comment, because I liken it to like when Tim gives us the certificate of compliance. He's like, he either tells us, yes, we should, no, we shouldn't, and here's why. So I don't know, and I'm curious to see with the commissioners if there's other opportunities now that everyone's been on this, committee for many years, if there are opportunities that we could help kind of streamline that a little bit more.
But I had the same thought about the recommendations for certificates of compliance. And I do think that, well, and so I feel like I'm still learning a great deal, and, getting a direction on what's usual in a lot of the circumstances, and, an idea of why there may be exceptions to kind of kick the discussion off. That would be very helpful for me anyway, but I do think it would kind of move things along more quickly.
Yeah, I think that's a great end. As a professional, that's usually what we're taught, right? If you don't just present the problem and say, what next? You present the problem and a potential solution. Having said that, I would struggle to wanting to put more time and effort and preparation on Tim and Lauren's plate than they already have. Not saying that they can't do it, and I don't know if they should or not. That's something we should definitely talk about some more. But I wonder if the onus is more on the applicant than it is on Tim.
How follow that point through? What do you mean?
I mean, they come in and present the project, right? So I get that Tim's our regulatory guidance, right? And here's our rule follower. I don't know how much more, as I would have. My thought is that the applicant should be the one that's saying, "This is what we're looking for. Here's how we think we get there," and then Tim can just say yes or no, right? Like similar to the certificate of compliance. Rather than have to walk through step by step.
Right. And I think the caveat, Jim, here is that we've got the Wetlands Protection Act. So we are mandated through certain levels of, like, we have to hear it within 21 days. So there are things that kind of hamstring us a little bit that have to keep us in succession. Like you have to have a meeting and things like that as well.
Sure.
There are some things that, like, the certificate of compliance, right? Like that's something, a great example of something that we can, kind of streamline and make that super quick in a meeting like 4 Field Lane. That was, we went out there, the work was done in compliance with the order, site stable. I recommend that it's ready to go. But there's other things that we also do kind of behind the scenes that just don't get brought to the meeting, right? Like, so Jim, a lot of times if there's a replanting plan that's in front of us, right? And it's not quite at the finish line yet, but it's getting there. The commission will say, okay, we'll vote to have the property owner work with Tim and Lauren to basically get to the finish line. And if it's okay with them, it's okay with us, kind of thing. So there are some things, and on the other side, not necessarily with I lost my train of thought, but those are some examples of some of the things that we can do outside of the meeting to help kind of not make these meetings as long as they have to, or as they could be. But we are kind of constrained with, we can't really, I don't think, like tell the applicant, all right, you should do this, this, and this. It's, I think, more of a kind of reactionary approach that the commission needs to have of, all right, the applicant proposes something and the commission says whether or not, they approve that or not.
Right. And I think sometimes we've been fortunate that a lot of our hearings don't have a lot of abutters that are trying to put feedback in, which can take a tremendous amount of time. We've been fortunate that that doesn't happen a lot, but I think we still have to have the open meetings so that if someone does wish to present other information, we have to take that in. But yeah, we've been fortunate that they haven't been very contentious.
We were going to try and limit the time of discussion. We haven't done a very good job at that.
Yeah, that's a real tough one in my opinion to do. I get that we have to have these time windows, but we also have to hear. We have to talk. We have to hear about. We have to hear from people. So yeah, as much as we push for 15 minutes, I'm usually okay with going over, unless we're getting completely sidetracked or getting a little long-winded or whatnot. But yeah, that's definitely one of the tough ones.
You mean like
and another thing that I want to add is, although I may have, some great information to share with the commission and, maybe my own opinion for what, I think would be good in a situation, I try not to overstep my bounds, because ultimately me and Lauren don't have a vote. We're not part of the commission. We're only staff for the commission.
Yeah, you have to give us facts. Not
one thing I think it's important to keep in mind as we think about any, processes along these lines is the difference between decisions and recommendations. All final decisions have to remain with the commission. That's obviously a matter of state law, town policy, etc. So, Tim, I'm not suggesting that you and Lauren would be empowered to make decisions. That can't happen. But I think the question is, are there more cases where you feel you could more, let's say, tee up a recommendation for the commission to try to address, as opposed to simply more stating the facts of a matter for the commission to begin discussing?
Yeah, and we could certainly be cognizant of that going forward and trying to see if there's ways that we can improve that.
So, and Jim, that's a good point, because I've been on committees so when you receive like your packet, here's the agenda, here are all the applicants, the person that is overseeing basically puts in writing what the recommendations are ahead of time, or things to think about, so we're not wasting as much time during the hearing. So it is a perfect solution to asking Tim to, as you said, tee it up a little bit more.
Right.
And it doesn't happen every time that I send out the meeting packet and all the meeting docs, but occasionally if there's something that upon my initial review of the application, sometimes I'll reach out to like the applicant, say they're missing a waiver or something, be like, yeah, you guys are missing a waiver, make sure you have that for the meeting. Other times there's things that I think need to be discussed during the meeting that I'll note in there, so that the commission will have that ready to bring up, like if there's something contradictory in the application, if there's, like tonight, if they're proposing to take out trees where they're not proposing to replant anything, if they talk about dewatering but they're not showing where they're dewatering on the plan, things like that, I'll occasionally throw those in that email that I send out with all the meeting docs. If you guys would like to see more extensive notes on that, we can certainly do that.
I think that would help with the discussions.
Sure.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, prompt talking points for sure.
Yep.
I'll try not to overstep my bounds when doing that. I try to, you know.
Well, yeah, you have to be impartial and fair. Yeah. Jim, that was very helpful. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good luck.
Okay, well, thank you all for listening to that. And again, I'm Sarah with you. I'm happy to continue the dialogue and with others. That's helpful. Again, congratulations. And my thanks to somebody who lives within, I'm looking at the lake out my window here. And I really appreciate all the time that you guys put into keeping all these wetlands in good shape. So thank you again.
That's great. All right. With that ado,
I got one more thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I have something else to go.
Why don't you go first, Kyle?
Okay. I did mention this earlier because I noticed it while we were driving home from that baseball game. That property, the quarter of Tehadawon in Newtown near the church.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
They cut that tree down that was hanging towards the power line after we went out there.
That actually wasn't the one that was approved to be cut down. However, we heard from those guys a couple of weeks ago. They said something else happened with that tree where there was another large crack that wasn't noticed before. And they said it was threatening the power lines. So I said, if it's threatening the power lines, get in contact with LELWD. And if they feel like that it's a hazard, they will take it down, and they're authorized to take it down. So that was the case. LELWD was the one who.
All right, that makes me feel better that at least they went through those channels and didn't just say, "Hey, it's getting worse, and we're going to cut it."
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, no worries. The other thing that I had to add was just a quick note. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., they're going to be putting in the dock at Long Lake. Me and Lauren are going to be going down there just to get an idea of what it really takes to get that thing in there when thinking about options for Lakeshore Drive and the dock possibilities over there.
Take some videos.
Yeah, we can certainly do that.
Okay, cool.
May I ask one more?
Yep.
Do we have an updated status on Powers Road with John McGagan?
We do. John has. We've actually been in pretty frequent contact with him. He's. I haven't gotten out there to confirm this. He said last week that he's installed the bushes at the top of the hill and that he has plans for the bushes at the bottom of the hill to be done by the end of May. So we're holding him to that timeline of end of May. Because originally it was the end of Memorial Day. He asked, he's mentioned financial concerns. If he can push that to the end of May, we said that's fine.
Fair enough.
But we are on top of that.
Great. That's good to hear.
Excellent. Would someone like to make a motion to adjourn? It's 9:37.
I move that we adjourn this evening's meeting.
Second.
Thank you.
All right, final motion of the night. Roll call. Kyle.
Kyle Maxfield, aye.
Carl.
Tom Melberg, aye.
Sarah.
Sarah Seward, aye.
Ed Foltz.
Michael.
Michael Livingston, aye.
Myself, aye. We are adjourned.
All right.
Have a